This episode of WisBusiness.com, the show, is brought to you by Grant Thornton, White Hirschbeck Dudek, Madison Gas and Electric, and the University of Wisconsin at Milwaukee.
Hi, I'm Liz Schrum for the Wisconsin Technology Council with WisBusiness.com, the show. Coming up in his Inside Wisconsin commentary, Tom Still talks about what Wisconsin can learn from Ohio on building a robust data network. And Brandon Scholz, Executive Director of the Wisconsin Grocers Association, and how technology is changing a traditional industry. First, the WisBusiness.com stock report for late April. Rising startup businesses. State figures show the number of new businesses formed in Wisconsin in the first quarter of 2012 increased by more than 12% compared to the same period in 2011. That translates to almost 10,000 businesses. And an annual study by Boston Suffolk University ranks Wisconsin number 29 in the country for its ability to incubate businesses, up from ranking 43rd in the 2010 study. And falling, jobs. State figures show a loss of 4,300 private sector jobs in March. La Crosse is one of the hardest hit areas. First, North Carolina-based Compass Group USA announces it will lay off some 270 workers following the closure of dining facilities at UW-La Crosse. Then, Virginia-based ammunition and defense firm Alliant Tech Systems announces it will end 130 jobs. That's the WisBusiness.com stock report. Go to WisBusiness.com for more on these and other stories. Tom Still is next with his Inside Wisconsin commentary.
What has made Grant Thornton one of the largest accounting organizations in the world, with resources in more than 100 countries worldwide? Is it their global capabilities, or is it their passion for how they serve their clients? Grant Thornton.
Ohio's efforts to build a knowledge economy have ranged from creating more pools of venture capital to streamlining the movement of research from the lab bench to the marketplace. Now the Buckeye State is embarking on another strategy, building a high-speed electronic data network to serve researchers, businesses, and communities alike. It's an undertaking that business leaders, researchers, and policymakers in Wisconsin would be wise to follow, especially if they want the Badger State to compete for companies and jobs. Ohio's governor announced plans in February to invest about $10 million in an upgrade of his state's data highway, the network that transmits data through the internet and allows for broadband and wireless connections. The plan calls for upgrading existing network speeds from roughly 10 gigabits per second to 100 gigabits per second. How fast is 100 gigabits? Imagine an electronic pipe large enough to transmit 8.5 million medical records in 1 minute. 100 gigabits is 50,000 times faster than the current smartphone data speeds and large enough for all of Ohio's nearly 2 million elementary, middle, and high school students to download an electronic textbook simultaneously in about 2 minutes. Okay, you're thinking, who needs to get data that quickly? My laptop works just fine. The answer to that question already includes hospitals, research institutes, and businesses that rely on electronic data, a commodity that defines the modern global economy. In the future, it could include just about everybody else. Ohio's business, R&D, and economic development leaders appear to have rallied behind the plan because they think it will help attract and retain companies that deal in medical research, manufacturing, engineering, and other sectors. It will also better connect the state to Internet 2, a nationwide advanced data network. Unfortunately, that kind of consensus has yet to emerge in Wisconsin. Debates are underway in Wisconsin over how to build networks that can provide shared computing power, mass data storage, and better connections to networks such as Internet 2. Groups such as the Milwaukee Institute have already made important headway, but experts are still worried that Wisconsin could be left behind. At stake is economic growth in some of Wisconsin's emerging business sectors, from genomics to medical imaging, and from biotechnology to nanotechnology. Almost all of R&D today is tied to high-end computing and network connections. Much like Wisconsin, Ohio is a manufacturing and agricultural state. However, its leaders recognize it must be an information state as well to compete with the East and West Coast, let alone the world. Let's keep a sharp eye on those Buckeyes.
Thanks, Tom. I'll be right back with the Executive Director of the Wisconsin Grocers Association.
White Hirschbeck Dudek represents companies at all stages of development and in a wide range of industries to navigate the legal challenges of regional, national, and global growth. At WHD, every stage takes center stage.
I'm back with Brandon Scholz, Executive Director of the Wisconsin Grocers Association. Thanks for joining us, Brandon.
Thanks, it's great to be here.
Who are the members of the Wisconsin Grocers Association, and how do you represent them?
Our members are the grocers that you see all over the state, the vendors and suppliers, the distributors, food brokers, and many of the manufacturers of products that you see in the grocery store. So essentially anybody involved in the grocery business we help represent. And we do that by obviously lobbying in the Capitol on their behalf on issues that deal with taxes and regulation. But we also do a lot of member communication and provide benefits for their membership.
And how is technology changing what people see inside a grocery store and how stores communicate with their customers?
Well, the grocery business is learning how to communicate beyond the normals, which were flyers and newspapers. And as you get into grocery stores now, you'll see things like digital monitors placed throughout stores. In some stores, you might see promotions on carts. You'll see different types of advertising. Beyond the posters that you see in windows, you might see floor advertising. You'll see when you check out that you'll get a coupon on checkout, but it's another form of advertising. So grocers are learning in store how to reach their customers to let them know what kind of sales and deals and values they get, in addition to traditional advertising outside the store, and now starting to incorporate social media, outreach through email, texting, those things that you find in society today. The grocery industry is bringing that on now.
Now, there have been efforts to repeal Wisconsin's minimum markup law, which some people say is outdated. Tell us why you think that law is vital to small businesses, including many grocery stores.
Well, that law has been in existence since the 1930s. And what you find is in the grocery business, as well as many other small businesses, that is what drives their business plan. And if you were to eliminate it today, I think you'd really hurt small businesses across the state. It's nice to say, gee, if we got rid of it, you could sell it at any price you want. But I think what you'd find is you'd find a lot of businesses would have to shut down. They're not able to compete, and they would be victims to big box and other stores that have more resources that they can contribute. This law has worked great. Under this minimum markup law, which essentially says you can't sell below your cost, and if you did, you'd probably go out of business, means that we can employ thousands of people in the grocery business, which is about a $6 billion business in Wisconsin. We employ over 50,000 people, and we contribute about $250 million of sales revenue to the state. So to change a law overnight would be disastrous to the small business community in Wisconsin, and it's worked. It's worked just fine, and there's no reason to change it.
Thanks, Brandon, and thank you for watching this edition of WisBusiness.com, the show. The show is produced by WisBusiness.com and the Wisconsin Technology Council, and sponsored by Grant Thornton, White Hirschbeck Dudek, MG&E, and UW-Milwaukee. Visit our websites to read and learn more. I'm Liz Schrum of Talent Foot Executive Search. See you next time.